In this Monster Hunter Wilds video, we're going to be taking a look at the Lance weapon, which is one of the 14 weapons of the game. We're going to be going through the moves of the weapon, the combos of the weapon. So if you're a new player who's been trying to learn some information about the Lance, this is a great video for you. Or if you're a returning player that wants to know what's different about the Lance, we'll also be covering that in this video, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised with what you can do with the Lance now. If you're looking for a weapon that will help you laugh in the face of danger, then look no further, because the Lance is the perfect weapon for you. The Lance is a weapon that lets you play as an unmoving bulwark and punish monster attacks with powerful counterattacks and intense thrusts, making the Lance the weapon of choice for those who prefer a defensive playstyle. In Monster Hunter Wilds, the Lance has received some combat flow changes and additions, with more options for counterattacks than in previous installments. We'll start off this guide by taking a look at the combos of the Lance. It doesn't have as many combos as other weapons in the game because it relies a lot on counterattacks for its damage, but we'll still go through them just so you can get a sense of what they are. The first combo is the basic combo into triple thrust. This is a basic combo that will perform 3 thrusts in a row straight ahead of you with a triple thrust at the end. Perform this combo by pressing Y, 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 or triangle, 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 triangle. The second combo is the basic combo into counter thrust, and this combo performs 3 high thrusts, which are amazing for hitting monsters' heads, which can be followed up by a charge counter. We'll get into what charge counters are in just a second, but this combo is performed by pressing B, 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 and then holding B and releasing, or pressing circle, 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 and then holding circle and releasing. The third combo is the counters after successful guard combo. This last combo is only able to be performed after successfully guarding against an attack, and lets players perform a variety of different attacks. These are return thrust, which is Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation, which does a simple thrusting attack. Payback thrust, which is B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation, which is similar to a high thrust. And retribution thrust, which is Y plus B on Xbox or triangle plus circle on PlayStation, which is a powerful 2-hit thrusting attack. You can also follow up retribution thrust with one of 3 options, which are triple thrust, charge counter, or a follow-up dash attack, which is also performed by pressing Y plus B on Xbox or triangle plus circle on PlayStation after performing the retribution thrust. Next, let's take a look at the changes and moveset of the Lance in Monster Hunter Wilds. The Lance has a surprisingly fluid movement considering the nature of the weapon in this installment. Pairing this movement with good positioning to land your thrusts and knowing when to guard will be even more important in this latest iteration of the title, and it's an important thing to mention in this guide. Firstly, a great change to the Lance is the ability to move in any direction while using your 3-hit thrust combos. What this allows you to do is continue your barrage of thrusts while adjusting your position as needed so that the monster stays in range. This added maneuverability in combination with the new focus mode makes the Lance much easier to use than ever before. Another addition is the triple thrust combo finisher that can be performed at the end of your traditional thrust combos, which we mentioned just a second ago. This attack will help you maintain your damage on the monster as you keep in range and poke it continuously. The charge counter is a new addition to the Lance in Monster Hunter Wilds, and it functions similarly to the counter thrust from previous games and is performed by holding B on Xbox or holding circle on PlayStation while guarding, or by holding B or circle at the end of certain combos. In Monster Hunter Wilds, you can charge up the charge counter, as the name implies, up to 3 levels. This counter charge can be used in a way similar to offset attacks, as you can release the charge with an incoming monster attack, and it will perform the double thrust counter, dealing massive damage. However, you do not need to wait for a monster to attack you in order to use this move, and it can be a simple form of damage, although waiting for the right moment to connect with a monster attack would be the most optimal way to use it. Note that if you fail to let go of the charge or you get hit during the charge, you'll fail the counter and no counter attack will occur. Offset attacks are a new type of attack that was added in Monster Hunter Wilds. These attacks fill an invisible offset meter on the monster, much like a status effect, that will topple the monster when you trigger the effect. And like status effects, the subsequent triggers will get harder and harder to trigger after the first topple, which is why this move is best used when a monster is attacking you in order to get that topple. With the inclusion of the perfect guard mechanic, the Lance has received a ton of changes around its guard mechanics. While holding the guard button will protect the hunter from most incoming damage, triggering a perfect guard by guarding just before a monster's attack will prevent hunters from taking any damage at all. The difference between triggering the perfect guard with this weapon, the Lance, as opposed to other blocking weapons in Monster Hunter Wilds, is that it will automatically attack with the shield when triggered, and you can follow up with a special counter return thrust by pressing Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation after a perfect guard. If you want more damage after guarding, you can use the payback thrust, which is an upward leaping counter having a longer windup that deals more damage to the monster. The payback thrust can also act as a combo starter, meaning you can chain into your poke and thrust combos. The Power Guard is a more powerful guard that blocks almost every attack in Monster Hunter Wilds in a full 360 degrees around the hunter, and is commonly used to block very dangerous attacks. However, you cannot directly go into Power Guard stance in Monster Hunter Wilds. To perform a Power Guard, you'll need to start with a charge counter by holding B on Xbox or holding circle on PlayStation while guarding, and then by pressing A on Xbox or X on PlayStation afterwards while still guarding. This allows you to cancel out your charge counter into a Power Guard if you realize you're going to be hit by an attack by simply pressing one button. You'll not be able to Power Guard if you strike with the attack from counter charge though, so choose what you want to do and choose wisely. You can also go into the Power Guard more quickly if you press A on Xbox or X on PlayStation immediately after pressing B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation while holding guard. This will cancel your charge counter instantly, allowing for faster power guarding, and should become muscle memory as quickly as possible for emergencies. An important thing to note though is that using Power Guard will drain your stamina bar rapidly if you hold it once triggered, so you cannot hold it very long, meaning you will still need to learn the timing of monster attacks in order to use this properly. The advantage of using Power Guard is that most of the damage you block while Power Guarding will transfer into your counterattack, resulting in the most powerful counterattacks in the game. The level of damage you will do with a counter can be seen by the lance's glowing color, with red being the highest level of damage. After a Power Guard, you can counter using one of three counters: the Leaping Thrust, which is Y or triangle, the Payback Thrust, which is B or circle, or the Retribution Thrust, which is Y plus B, or triangle plus circle, similar to counters after a normal guard. But the Retribution Thrust will be upgraded into a stronger version called Grand Retribution Thrust if an attack hits you during your Power Guard. In Monster Hunter Wilds, the Lance has also received another move called the Guard Dash, which will let you dash in a specific direction without needing to stop blocking. To do this while guarding, you can press Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation while holding the direction you want to move. After dashing, you can follow up with a shield attack that will deal stun damage called the Shield Bash, which is Y on Xbox or triangle on PlayStation, or a Leaping Thrust, which is B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation, where you jump forward and do a 2-hit thrust attack covering more distance. This is an amazing addition since the Guard Dash will give the Lance user some much needed mobility while using the Lance, and it is extremely useful in closing the distance between you and the monster while keeping your guard up. With the addition of the Focus mode, the Lance gains Focus Strike Victory Thrust, which is performed by pressing RB while in Focus mode on Xbox or R1 on PlayStation, and this is a high damage multi-attack Focus Strike that can be executed very quickly. The quick nature of this strike means it's easy to weave this attack into your combos to sustain damage. Final tips. The Lance is one of the weapons that has the strongest block in the game, and with the perfect guard mechanic and power clashes, it also has very strong damage and toppling potential. Players using the Lance should remember to block and guard more where others would evade, as blocking allows the Lance to go into powerful counters. Practicing the perfect guard timings and managing your stamina well for your power guards will help in using this weapon effectively. Also, be sure to master the timing of the charge counters, as the offset damage they provide is a wonderful option not only to prevent damage, but also for dealing huge damage while you topple monsters. Keep in mind, though, although the Power Guard can withstand some of the most powerful attacks in the game, it cannot withstand all of them. You'll still need to dodge some of them, and in such cases, you need to sheath your weapon and dodge out of the way. As for secondary weapons for the Lance, the Gun Lance is a solid option, being the close cousin, providing a very similar gameplay and flow of combat, giving you access to a better option to break monster parts. If you're looking for something to buff your defenses even further, the Hunting Horn will provide you and your teammates with those buffs. So that wraps up our Lance guide. I hope you guys got something out of this, whether you're a new Monster Hunter Wilds player or you're a returning Monster Hunter veteran. Tried to go into as much detail as I could, and as always, if you have other tips about the Lance, maybe things I forgot to put in this guide, or if you have questions about the Lance, maybe I didn't answer them in this guide, please leave them in the comments and I will try and answer them as soon as I can.